Tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salalo Makwidiri. And as I mentioned, this hour of News and Views is proudly sponsored by Africa Muslims Agency, a beacon of hope to communities in Africa and beyond. And with that being said, we'll be having one of my favorite segments of the show. It's called hashtag Fired Up. And this time around, we are joined by Ashraf Gangrekar from Africa Muslims Agency. Ashraf, Jazakallah so much for joining us. Always a pleasure having you. And we have an interesting topic today, Badr.
Yes, Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum, salam, salela. Good to see you again and chat to the viewership and listenership of Salam Media. So I told you yesterday I wanted to continue this thing on forgiveness, right? In the 10 days of forgiveness, forgive yourself. Today I was going to speak, but it's the 17th day of Ramadan, which
Mm-hmm.
quite honestly, many, in the opinion of many scholars, are of the most significant events. I'm not going to sit here and give a long history lesson, but the notion of the Battle of Badr, literally when the Prophet raised his hands in dua and repeatedly said to Allah, we know this in the Battle of Badr that one, the Muslims were not prepared. They fought battle. They in fact went to go and wanted to waylay a caravan of Abu Sufyan, and there were only 313 of them against the army of the Quraysh. Bottom line, Salelo and the listeners, viewers, the Prophet ﷺ raises his hands and says, Oh Allah, and if we lose this today, in words to this effect, then you will not be worshipped on earth. Now, this is how important this is, right? This battle of Badr, as it were. And so, to moms and dads out there who have small children, you make sure you teach the historical context and the entire story of the battle. Kids are going to school and learning about, Dunkirk and other battles in the First and Second World War, as important that they are as Muslims. This is of the most defining moments. But Salelo, my good man, I want to take this to our own Badrs. I'm not here to give you a history lesson, but for those of you who are not too familiar with the Battle of Badr, please go and find out, yes? But we all face our Badrs at some time with the other. And so when we face odds that we feel are stacked against us, and so when I think of the Battle of Badr, Salelo, my man, I think to myself, 313 poorly equipped. They didn't have like spears. They had very few horses and camels, and they see this well-armed, army coming towards them, etc., etc. And so they have with them, obviously, the greatest of creation, the Apostle of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's a good thing. But surely there must have been some trepidation. Let me put it to you that way. And I'm sure there was. And people, were made shaheed. Now, in our Badrs, whether it is issues with family, whether it is issues with those we work with, organizations that we are involved in, or financial or business or whatever, and we face the sense of the them and the us. We face a sense of trying to swim upstream. We face the sense of the odds are stacked against us. I want us to then I'll just try to be brief. I want us to note a few things. One, the firm belief in the help of Allah. This quite honestly is fundamental to who we are as Muslims, to believe in Him and His aid. For this is His promise. And when He says to us, if you call on me, I am near. So just for purposes of time, I know I don't have a lot of time, Salelo. The second thing is the Prophet ﷺ consulted. He asked the people, listen here, do you think we should go to war? Because we weren't prepared for war. We just came to intercept the caravan. People said, no, we'll go to war. And then one of the people, they suggested, when the Prophet said, look, we're going to camp here. I forget the person's name. A general came to him, or somebody who had some military experience, and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is this revelation that says we must stay here because there is word from Allah, or is this from you? And he says, no, this is from me. This person says, look, if you don't mind, I suggest we go and camp somewhere else, a place that is of greater advantage to all of us, right? So this sense of shura, that I consulted, and then the bottom line, Salelo, You got to work hard and plan. You have to have a plan. You can't just. So let us say, just to wrap up, this is your bother. You're faced with something that we think is insurmountable. And so let's speak about something, openly and easily, just as a simple example, financial issues. That there are people, when we know of our families and our friends and perhaps ourselves, who face financial trauma. That to survive, I'm not saying in terms of poverty, but they are really, really struggling and drowning in debt. You need first the trust in Allah, because there is the dua that the Prophet makes to prevent you against laziness, and debt is included in that. And then we say, great, now I'm going to consult. I'm going to speak maybe to a financial advisor who actually knows what they are doing. Then I'm going to have a clear plan, go to my financial houses and the people I owe money to, and say, guys, this is how I want to structure this. These are lessons for me, Salelo, from this ultra significant event. That is not a question of simply people going to war, some people being stabbed, so the others, blood flowing, etc. This is such a pivotal moment that allows us to be Muslim today. And therefore, I say, when we face the various battles of Badr in our lives on a daily basis, that I'm asking you to cast your mind back to this fateful, historic day, the 17th day of Ramadan, and then take the lessons from the victory that Allah gave to the Muslims on that day. That's it, Salelo.
No, definitely, and I think the story of Badr. I think for me, with what happened yesterday, with regards to the bombardment by the Israeli occupying forces
Oh,
that have killed almost 300 Palestinians, mainly children and
sure.
women. I think you can correlate it in a way, with what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank today. They too, the people of Gaza are facing immense hardships. They have their homes and lives shattered by this ongoing genocide. But just like the Muslims at Badr, the Palestinians continue to show incredible strength. They're not just trying to survive; they are fighting literally for their
Absolutely.
right to exist with dignity, with freedom, and with peace. And I think the lesson of Badr is clear. No matter how tough the battle, the fight is, there's always hope. And with unwavering resolve, unwavering, commitment and belief in the Almighty, change is possible. And I think the Palestinian struggle is a testament to this resilience. So I think really, really awesome and great topic that you've chosen today, Ashraf. And hope to hear from you again tomorrow.
Look forward to it. Selena, I just want to commend you, bro, on that beautiful summary that correlation that you took. I was going to mention it, but obviously I ran out of time with the
Mm,
issue of Palestine, the currently, or just the Palestinian struggle and the Battle of Badr. And what beautiful word that you used as well is the sense of hope. We
mm,
must have the hope, and the belief in Allah's victory. And therefore, we must continue, and our support to them must be intensified. It's easy to become, slightly lethargic and complacent and that type of thing. South Africa is not free until Palestine is free. So that
definitely.
correlation, you just spoke so particularly beautifully on that issue. I'm not going to add to it because I might detract and diminish your words. And I think what I wanted to say, you captured perfectly. Inshallah, we
Jazakallah
speak
so
tomorrow,
much.
Camp.
Jazakallah so
Okay.
much. We'll chat
All
tomorrow.
the best.
Ashraf Gangrekar
Okay.
from Africa Muslims Agency giving us today's edition of Hashtag Fired Up. And yeah, I think, very, very, amazing topic that he chose today, the Battle of Badr. And I think we can make a correlation to it in our personal lives. But I think in a greater or bigger scale, what the people of Palestine are currently going through. And as I've mentioned before, we'll continue giving you the latest out of Palestine. We'll continue trying to get you those voices. But this has been Hashtag Fired Up, proudly sponsored by Africa Muslims Agency. We have come to the end of today's edition of News and Views. It's been another brilliant one. And I will be with you again tomorrow. For myself, Salailo Makwidiri, and the rest of the team, shap shap.